Good morning guys, welcome to Flory Models. Here we are on the 2nd of August 2016. Just a small show today because obviously we're doing the full one with Steve a little bit later, so I'll pop this up at lunchtime just to keep you abreast and up to speed of everything we're doing. So hopefully I've caught up with all the emails and the bits and pieces from yesterday. If you haven't had one, please shoot me again because to be honest I came back to 78 of them. I think I got them all, but as I said, sometimes they get lost and deleted by accident, all the rest of it. So if you haven't had an answer for me for anything since around about Wednesday onwards, shoot it to me again, but I'm pretty sure I'm up to date with all the emails. Loads of you have been asking about, obviously, Steve doing the video and the bits and pieces. I'm going to hold it off because I'm going to edit it. To be honest, I've done a rough edit and I'm not that happy with it. Not Steve's bit because I'm in with it as well and I don't want to be. It's more Steve's review. So I'm going to re-edit it a little bit to get Steve in there a little bit more so it looks like he's on his own. He doesn't know this yet, but I actually sat with him doing it. He was nervous, but I'm looking at it thinking, I don't really need to be in it. So I'm going to try and edit me out as much as possible. Okay, and then obviously going to get the Walrus on Friday, moving on with that one. So today, it's just finishing off putting everything back together because this afternoon, obviously, around about 2 p.m, me and Steve are going to be doing the Q&As. Now I know there's a lot of them in my personal one. I know Steve's got a few, so we should be good to go with that one. So we can catch up with that. We're going to stream that live, to be honest, using the new computer. Now a lot of people have asked me about this. I have done a video on it. To be honest, I did set up the, if I can get it to go here, the Vive. This is the HTC Vive. To say it took a while is an understatement. I know a few of the guys who have got this said to me, allow a long time to get it sorted. I started around about, after I did the orders and everything, about 4:30, 5 o'clock last night. And then I was up till 10 playing with it, setting it up and all the rest of it. It's truly a incredible experience, that's all I can say, and something I really want to share with you, but it's really hard because everything you'll see on your screen is not going to be in 3D. So hopefully I'll be putting it over to you so you can understand what I'm trying to feel, okay? But it's one of those things, I think when you're here, and obviously for the live shows and that, perhaps I'll get the guys down, they can have a go on it, but you know, when you feel it, the immersion is something else, to the point where, as you'll see in the video, which I'll put up probably tomorrow, I was almost sick. I rolled an aircraft and to be honest it felt like I was about to fall out. It was like your roller coaster thing where your stomach does a flip, and to get that sat in a chair I think is its ultimate, you know, bonus. The clarity of things close up again is absolutely pin sharp. It's no different from looking at your monitor. Unfortunately, you know, as the depth of field progresses, i.e. from an aircraft point of view, the things that are further away then start to blur, okay, and that's just the technology at the moment, but definitely well worth it. But loads of you have asked me about it, loads of you asked about the new computer rig that we're using, you want to see about that. So what I've done is a full video on the lot. So it's everything about all the components, what exactly is in the new rig, how we use it, when we intend to use it, the capture cards, the things like that, the bits and pieces. Obviously all about the HTC Vive, setting it up, and my initial impressions and my first time of using it, bits and pieces like that. So I know a lot of you have been pinging me saying, are you going to do one? Yes, I am. It will be up. We're going to keep it somewhat separate from the modelling side because I don't want them to merge over. We are a modelling site, as you know, but as we all have that thing with, obviously guys are into aviation, you like going to air shows, you like doing your simulations and stuff like that. So we will have a light drag over, but I'm going to set up a separate area for it and people can talk about it in there, and I'll put the videos in there rather than in the site, if you know what I mean, because it is a modelling site and this is something completely separate, and I would like to keep them somewhat separate for me as well, because technically this is my hobby and not my job, if that makes sense, and all the rest of it. Anyway, I've got to do a few repairs, to be honest. The poor 1090, he had a few hits. My gun has taken a nasty knock, so I need to fix that, and also a couple of bits somehow have come off. I'm not blaming anyone because everyone likes to see these things, but a couple of wires and various bits and pieces have been knocked loose or bent on the engine, I think, where it got handled over the weekend, so I need to sort those out. The exhaust manifold as well comes loose, so I need to do that. So there's a couple of little repairs I'm going to do to the 190. Then I'm going to get it primed up today, properly primed this time, and then we can start thinking about paint work, putting the paint down onto it, how we're going to do it, and all the bits and pieces. Now originally with this particular build, my main plan was to do this in sort of, you know, combat colors. It's a line aircraft and everything else, and it's ready to fight. Then I was thinking we're going to lose all this gorgeous riveting, so let's do something different. So I was thinking about a bare metal finish, primer, something else like that, so you could still see it. But I'm thinking you guys can see this. You've seen it in this state. You know how lovely the riveting is and all the rest of it. So let's go back to my gut reaction, how I wanted this to look. So I have a little base for it, sitting on there with the covers open, not stripped back and, you know, torn apart like we did with the Typhoon, just so we can see all this gorgeous engine detail and obviously the gun deck and the cockpit and all the bits and pieces. But then let's make it look real. Okay, so we are going to paint it up in the combat colours. We're going to be using the Vallejo set, I do believe. Which is the one that we've been using all the way through this build, so it'll be a first time using those colours as well, so it should be really, really interesting. So anyway, I'm going to have a quick look through the forum. Thank you for all the feedback on yesterday. Guys absolutely loved it. Slip and slide, to be honest, we didn't do it. I couldn't get enough people to want to do it, and I couldn't set it up just for me. I'd go on it all day, but obviously I had things to do with cooking now. But when I said let's put it up, everyone was like, so that's why we didn't do the slip and slide at the end of the day. Anyway, now time to get on. I'll catch you all at lunchtime. Okay guys, so I'm going to be doing the Q&A in about an hour. It's just gone 12:30, so we need to sort that out with Steve, but I thought I'd show you where we got to. That wasn't brilliant. Okay, so to be honest, we've primed this completely, gone round, we've done a little bit more riveting work around the front because we need to take care of that. Also, we've been round and just tidied up a few little seams and a few bits and pieces that I wasn't exactly 100% happy with, and to be honest, that's looking better. That's actually not looking too bad. I think with the sand, I think we'd be good to go. But if we just show you what we've been trying to do. So hopefully you can see, if the camera locks in, there we go. So we've done a bit of riveting work now across the front. We had a bit of a gap down on this leading edge. So to be honest, I use this tool because it's got an edge, and we scrape cleaned down in there. It's not perfect. I think there's a tool can be made there. Okay, but we've gone around, and hopefully you can see how the surface texture actually works really well for these wings and the bits and pieces. But we went around and we've riveted some of the detail. You can see it better on this camera, you can the big one, to be honest, but we just touched in. But these, I wasn't exactly happy with the wing joins. Once it was in primer, it didn't look exactly brilliant, so to be honest, I've gone around and we've redone those. But generally you can see now we are very much taking shape. The underside one, you still see, the camera cuts in, come on. There we go. We've just got a little bit of an issue just down here. So there's this edge just here. I'm just gonna, it's gone a little bit flat spot. I'm gonna try and roll that out, sand that out, re-rivet, re-scribe, pop all the details back in there. To be honest, underneath you're not going to really see it, but I know it's there, so I want to get it done. You might notice we've primed over here. That's because we had that little bit of damage in construction that had the super glue mark coming through, so we'll repaint that and we'll just touch in around the gun areas again. I think it'll be easier to do that. So really, once those have been touched in, finished off, no problem with that, then we can think about getting this thing pre-shaded. As soon as it's pre-shaded, then we can start to work through the paint, and it's going to be done literally as you see it now. Going to be painted, deckled, sealed, weathered and everything like this. Then we're going to come back and do all the sub-assembly work to it. So there's still a lot to go on this one, but it's going to start to take shape really quickly. But you can see all that riveting now, even with the grey field cutting. Come on, anything with this camera, it's very slow, but you can see it's looking very much the part now. Very happy how it's turned out with the riveting. I think it's really made this aircraft. I often do a build and I often think, you know, okay, what do I like best about it? What is the best thing about this build? What have I learned from a build? And as you know, everyone thinks that I'm some type of professional sat here and all the rest of it. I'm learning just as much as you guys. I like to try new things with every single build. And this one was going to be always going to be about doing riveting work, because we knew the kit wasn't up to a certain standard. We accepted that, and that's why we spent a fortune on aftermarket to bring it up. But what I've learned from this one, I'm going to be taking away from it throughout my entire future builds and career doing this, is riveting. So now am I no longer going to be looking at kits going, yeah, but it needs re-riveting, and putting it to one side. Now I'm going to be able to look at any kit and think, yeah, quick rivet job on that, spend, you know, an afternoon with some good music on, re-rivet it, we've got a brilliant kit then. So that enables me now to look at kits that traditionally perhaps I wouldn't look at. So we're thinking some of the older kits, we're thinking some of, like, you know, the Monogram Century Series jets, which, let's face it, it's all raised detail. Now I would be quite happy, sand the lot off and start again. But again, it's all down to good quality tools and learning how to use them, and that is the big point with this. You know, it's a bit like any tool that you have. It doesn't matter if you're using a scraper, if you're using an airbrush, a riveting wheel or filler. Learn how to use it properly, find what works for you. What I show you might not work for you. You might like to do it a different way, but find really what works for you best and what you're most comfortable with and what doesn't stress you out too much. And then that way you can actually push your work with it, take it to that next level and move on. But definitely this one is ever going to be known as the one I learned to rivet properly with. You know, you could always rivet, but it always took forever. This clean, quick, simple riveting with no problem at all. So that's about it for me today on the building work. As I say, so I've got to sort out 1 o'clock, going to be joining up with Steve. We'll set up the cameras. Obviously, you spoke about before, it's a brand new system. Never used it all before. I've done a quick test with it with Skype, with the system running and streaming, and it was only using 40% of the processor power, and it was only using, I think it was something like around about 20% of the memory on this thing. So it's not going to be too, I think, bother the system too much, but we just need to make sure that we're good with the sound, that we've got the sound quality coming through, and there's no real delays and things like that, because obviously the old one was set up for a certain delay between the cameras, the separate audio system, and everything else like that. That's probably Steve now texting saying, can we do a test or something first? So really we just need to make sure that these kinks are all worked out and we don't have a problem with them. If we're fine with it, then actually what we can do is then think about pushing it on, getting on with it, and moving through with the actual show and everything else like that. So there we go, that's it from me. I'll catch you all on the Q&A live show in a short while.